Kurt. We're ready. Yeah, Kurt. Kurt's either.
Man, what would we do without Kurt? Our worlds would crash. Oh, there it is. Test, test. That's good. All right, Denny's ready up there. Are we ready, everybody? Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the City of Mason, our business meeting. Tonight's February 8th, 2021. It's time to call this meeting to order with a roll call. Lisa?
Councilmember Chance.
Here.
Councilmember Nelson. Councilmember Bradburn.
Present.
Councilmember Stricula.
Here.
Vice Mayor Gilb. Councilmember Hunterlaw.
Here.
Mayor Grossman.
Here. It's time for our prayer. Chaplain Mark Champagne is here to lead us in prayer, and we'll immediately follow that with the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you could stand with us, please.
Would you pray with me? Father God, as this city council gathers tonight, we simply ask for wisdom. Proverbs 28:13 says, "He who answers before listening, that is his folly and his shame." So we pray that the city council would have the capacity to listen well to each other and to listen as well to the community. So much of that listening happens outside the scope of this meeting, and nonetheless, all of those conversations lead to decision-making that we pray would be wise. We pray certainly that it would be of one accord as voices are heard, but where there is disagreement, we pray for charity and kindness. And where there have been offenses, we pray for quick and ready forgiveness. And we ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
I need a motion to approve the minutes from the January 25th council meeting. All in favor? Any opposed?
Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to propose that maybe we could table those. I wanted to make some corrections. I'd be willing to present those to council days before the next meeting so they could see them in advance, not just set them at their seats. But I'd wanted to be able to make sure I was represented in the visitors' comments a little better.
Okay.
Possible to table that until next meeting.
Okay, so Councilmember Hunterlaw is making a motion to table the minutes. Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? All right, and we'll get back to that next meeting. Thank you. All right, item 6 on the agenda is the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of items here. Want to remind everyone that on Monday, February 15th, city offices will be closed in observance of President's Day. The community center will be open with normal operating hours for residents. Second item, do have a liquor permit. Excuse me for one moment. This is for Dulsat LLC, doing business as Dulsat Bistro. It is a D5, which is spirituous liquor for on-premises consumption only, beer and wine for on-premises and off-premises in original sealed containers until 2:30 a.m. Council has the option to request a hearing or not request a hearing via motion.
I make a motion, we not request a hearing.
There a second?
Second.
We have a lot of seconds. All right, that's covered.
And then last and next item here is council will recall at our last meeting, you passed a resolution on 2021-3 declaring February as Heart Health Literacy Month in Mason. That's another opportunity to both further the city's mission of building a culture of wellness in the community, as well as to acknowledge some of the innovation that our businesses make. With that, would like to turn it over to Michelle Blair. We have a couple of presentations for council as well as the community.
Sorry. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Um, It is of particular satisfaction that I am able to be with you here tonight to reintroduce Heart Health Literacy Month in the City of Mason. And as Eric mentioned, you passed a resolution last council meeting to designate February as this literacy month. And with that, we have a fair amount of activities planned, and wanted to talk to you a little bit about that. I'm just going to cycle through these because I thought they were going to move on their own. So the heart health literacy is part of the culture of wellness energy that the city has adopted, and with that, we have an opportunity to not only try with this, with this subject to become one of the healthiest cities in the United States, but also to be one of the most educated cities in the United States around heart health. On top of that, why economic development? Why am I talking to you? And I think you know by now that not only when we're talking about these topics in culture of wellness, they also marry very strongly into innovation and our innovation partners. And so tonight we have some special guests that are going to talk to you a little bit about not only how can we educate and make the City of Mason more literate about heart health and some educational topics on that, but also what type of disruptive technology is happening here in the City of Mason that hopefully we'll all become able to use and be a little bit smarter about how we can be extremely healthy. So I'd like to introduce, and I'm going to look around the room here, Alyssa Ward. She's going to come up here first. American Heart Association is partnering this year to launch this month. And following Alyssa, who is the development director for American Heart Association, is Sam Privatera. Sam, executive leadership with AtriCure, global corporate headquartered here in the City of Mason. Sam is the CTO. And then following Sam, we have Piyush Shrivastava. And I think you all know most of these people in the room here because they're such great innovation partners. But Piyush is a co-founder and the CEO of Geneticist, also located here in the City of Mason. And then we're going to have Brad Enos with the Mason Community Center talk to us a little bit about your heart. And followed by Brad, we're going to have Nate Wyatt from the fire department. Also, as you see, these topics just reach every department in the city. And then also we have on our team, Jessica Johnson as part of the economic development staff, launching this initiative, and Chrissy Avery that you all know as well. So we can take it citywide to talk about our hearts. So Alyssa.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be collaborating with the City of Mason. My name is Alyssa Ward. I'm with the American Heart Association. And for those of you that are not familiar with us, our mission statement is to be a relentless force towards a world of longer, healthier lives. And the American Heart Association is truly committed to driving not only just health impact in our communities, but equitable health impact. And here in Greater Cincinnati, we do so through our 5 key priority areas, which I could talk hours about with you all, but in my short time here, I'll just do an overview of those 5 key priority areas. One of them, women, all about reducing the risk of heart disease and stroke in women, bringing awareness to the fact that heart disease is a woman's #1 killer. 2 is COVID-19, obviously a new pillar for us, but we are funding $2.5 million worth of research nationally towards COVID-19 amidst the pandemic. Our 3rd key priority area here in Cincinnati is tobacco and e-cigarette usage, or more widely known as vaping, the marketing term that the tobacco companies have come up with, still a dangerous product and puts you at risk for heart disease and stroke. Patients, more specifically here in Cincinnati, around high blood pressure. 63% of our Greater Cincinnati community is currently living with high blood pressure or experiencing hypertensive readings. A very urgent call to action here in our Cincinnati community. Lastly, healthy living, not just your physical health, but mental health and well-being as well, something our organization's very focused on. And I think that kind of ties the circle is why we're all here today, is healthy living. I think we could all agree, and especially this past year amidst the pandemic, is something that we've seen is so important. Heart health is related to your overall well-being and overall health in general. Many of the patients that are being hospitalized because of COVID-19 have had pre-existing conditions, not just heart-related or cardiovascular related, but heart disease is our nation's number one killer. And so that's just brought about an even bigger call to action. Again, why we're here today and why I'm so happy to be partnering with the City of Mason this year is that healthy living is something that our organization is really trying to be a resource to all of our communities, City of Mason included. So again, so happy to be here and be partnering with the City of Mason, one of the greatest areas for well-being. So it's truly an honor. And many of the organizations like AtriCure that we're already partnering with. And so I think Sam is going to talk a little bit more about what the partnership between AHA and AtriCure has looked like. But again, thank you so much for allowing me to be here today.
Thank you, Alyssa. Thank you, Michelle. AtriCure is very fortunate to have two tremendous partners in the City of Cincinnati and the American Heart Association. And ironically, the prayer tonight was about listening. And just a few weeks ago, the three of us got together and we talked, and we listened to each other. And it was great what's been able to come together because of the council towards one common goal, the wellness of our community. As a citizen of Mason, as a board member on the local AHA, and someone who's dedicated 20 years of my life to heart health, I applaud Mason and the council for dedicating this month to heart health awareness and literacy. So thank you. Each day, associates here in Mason are producing products that are integral to improving the lives of patients around the world. We sell into 75 countries. We'll affect over 100,000 lives with the work that's done here in Mason. We continue to innovate at a pace that we hope will allow that impact to grow exponentially in the coming years. And we're so excited that companies like Geneticists are also following in this area of helping change patients' lives every day. Unfortunately, many of our Mason citizens, as well as associates at AtriCure, have been impacted by high blood pressure, stroke, valvular disease, and other arrhythmias. Heart disease is our nation's #1 cause of death, and that's the case here in Mason as well. At AtriCure, we have found that a partnership with the AHA has not only helped awareness, but it's added value to our overall wellness initiatives and employee engagement. Most recently, there's been some articles published about the companies that have done best through COVID issues. And it's those companies that have great employee engagement that have survived the best and actually thrived through this COVID pandemic. We're fortunate to have been named a top workplace because of that engagement. And I think that local partnership between the city and AtriCure has helped create that level of engagement. It's wonderful to be part of this ecosystem that takes community wellness so seriously. Our ongoing growth relies on recruiting and retention of exceptional talent. We routinely cite this public-private partnership as one of the reasons why we're here in Mason and why we're thriving here in Mason. Amidst this pandemic, wellness initiatives have become more crucial to help support both the physical and the mental wellness of our associates, our citizens, and all those that come into Mason each day. We appreciate that the council is fostering the growth of Mason as a hub for biotech. We hope to be a partner with you through that, not only for AtriCure's growth, but for the community in general. On behalf of AtriCure as well as the AHA, I want to thank the Mason Economic Development Team, which listened when we brought forward some ideas, and the Mason Council for creating this community awareness. So thank you for wearing your red masks in honor of all this. AtriCure is lit up on Innovation Way, just like the community here on this street. So thank you very much.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Similarly to my colleagues Sam and Alyssa, I want to first thank and acknowledge the fact that we're a small company here in Mason, and it is with the spirit of listening that we've been able to establish February as Heart Health Literacy Month here in the city of Mason. We started our company Geneticist a little over 7 years ago. My co-founders and I are Mason High School graduates, so we're longtime members of this community. It's important to the story because I think I speak for my 30 employees here at Geneticist in Mason when I say that heart health literacy is just such an important topic for our business, for our patients that we serve. Just about 60 days ago, our technology CardioFlux was designated by the US FDA as a breakthrough device, yet very few people actually understand and appreciate what our technology can do for patients. The idea that cardiovascular disease is one of the top killers of men and women in the United States, yet we have not seen as much innovation as we would hope to empower patients with the latest, most important technologies to serve them from a diagnostic perspective and ultimately from a therapeutic perspective. We're hoping to bridge that gap, and the fact that the city of Mason is acknowledging that the gap exists and is seeking to empower patients and our community members with that knowledge is an absolute great step for our community at large. And we're excited at Geneticist to be a part of this community. Excitingly, as part of February and Heart Health Literacy Month, we have taken a groundbreaking step and made our technology CardioFlux available to the city of Mason, not just in an emergency room type setting, which was the system was designed for originally, but really again to empower communities. So the groundbreaking step that we've taken is to make CardioFlux available to the city of Mason. We'd like to invite members of council and certainly the community at large over the next several weeks, certainly within February, to come out, see our technology live, get a scan, and for us to do our part to serve you all by empowering patients in the community with the latest breaking technology. So thank you again for having me here.
Good evening. I'm Brad Enos. I work at the community center. I'm the coordinator for fitness and health for Group Fitness. And today I'm here to talk a little bit about how heart health applies to fitness. So we know that cardiovascular training is hugely beneficial for the whole body. In particular, there are three main benefits for your heart. So training cardiovascularly helps your heart become more efficient. It helps decrease resting blood pressure. And most importantly, it helps reduce the risk of heart disease. There we go. So I'm going to talk a little bit about different heart rate zones. So when we talk about cardiovascular training, we're talking about activities that raise your heart rate above your resting heart rate. So in the fitness world, we use heart rate as a really objective way to talk about how hard you're working. So looking at these different levels, those are based on your maximum heart rate. So we can all find our own maximum heart rates by taking the number 220 and subtracting your current age. So for me in particular, I'm 33. My maximum heart rate is 187. So my 187 would be my 100% max up in that red level. We don't get up there a ton in normal workouts. That's really for the top level athlete, but I want to start down at the very light level. That's 50 to 60% of your max heart rate. That's a place where you are walking or stretching, just gently elevated, but that's really a key level for helping to lower risk of heart disease and helping with recovery. The next level is light, described at 60 to 70% of your maximum heart rate. The big benefits here is fat burning. That's the level where we are going to burn the most fat because it's activities that can be sustained for a longer time. So that might be a light jog, a leisurely bike ride, etc. So those two steps are big for weight loss. The next step is an aerobic step. That's the moderate intensity, so 70 to 80%. In that level, you're improving your heart's function. Moving up, that's harder intensity, 80 to 90%. Benefits there is you're improving your maximum performance. You're not there for a long time, but it's good to get the heart rate up into that zone. So a good way to monitor that in your workout, you can always stop, do a quick little check of your pulse on your wrist. So the best way is to do a little 6-second check. You count your pulse, then you multiply that by 10. Nowadays, I know a lot of people are wearing a watch or some kind, or maybe you're wearing a heart rate monitor. So that's a really easy way to check and make sure that you're hitting all those levels, because at each of those different heart rate zones, you have great benefits, like we talked about, working towards those great cardiovascular training benefits. So the next time you are doing something to work out, I encourage you to stop your workout, check out your heart rate, and then you can kind of look back at this and think, what benefit am I getting from this work? Am I in the hard zone? Am I working? Is my heart rate really high? Great. I'm improving my athletic performance. Is my heart rate just slightly elevated? Awesome. I'll be burning some fat. So that's me for tonight. Thank you.
How's it going? I'm Lieutenant Wyatt from the Mason Fire Department. So everybody here is kind of talking about the why we should take care of our health. The sad part of why we're here, the fire department, is we're going to talk a little bit about the how we can help if a heart, something were to go wrong with it. So I'm going to kind of transition over here if you follow me. So this is basic cardiopulmonary resuscitation, or we call it CPR. So when we talk about cardiopulmonary resuscitation, we're talking about beating on the chest or pumping the heart manually, because the heart cannot perform itself. So real quick, I'm going to take a 4-hour class and I'm going to stretch it into like 2.5 minutes. So bear with me. It's going to go really quick. So here I have my dummy, and I'll kind of work so everybody can see me. When you come up to a person who's unconscious, and when you give CPR to anybody that doesn't have the correct breathing, whether they're agonal, sounds like they're snoring, or they're not breathing at all. You can check breathing real quick just by looking down somebody's chest and see if it rises within 10 seconds. If it doesn't rise within 10 seconds, they need CPR, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna lock our hands out. We come to the middle of the chest. We lock our hands out. I'm gonna try to talk and do this at the same time. We lock our hands out, come to the middle, and we use our whole body to push down. We don't want to use our elbows or our shoulders or our muscles in our arms. We want to use our whole body. So usually what we would do is we would take the patient, we would bring him down to the floor, and then we would use our whole body to rock over the patient. So I'll give you a quick demonstration here real quick. Lock out, use my whole body. And you're going to push on the chest for 100 to 120 beats per minute. If you want to sing while this is going on, it's kind of morbid, but you know, you can. Staying alive, that is the beat. Staying alive, staying alive. If you do that, you're right on the right track. As I push down, you could hear the machine click. What that does is, in a training, that teaches you how far to go down. But we should be going down to 2/3 the depth of the chest. So I don't keep a tape measure on me at all times, but if you can feel a good compression down and come back up, you should be good. When you rise back up, do not remove your hands from the chest. All we want to do is we want a full recoil, meaning that chest comes all the way back up, blood fills back in the heart, and then we squeeze the heart again with the compression. So that is a down and dirty CPR. You do it until one of two things happen. The patient comes back alive and they talk to you, or the fire department arrives. Okay. Now it's 4 hours. The next is the AED. And this is a piece of technology that saves lives. If somebody goes unconscious or any sort of medical emergency, the first thing you should do is think of where these are at and where to get them. And if you work at a place right now, you should try to be thinking about where's the closest one to where I work. Here in the city of Mason, they're in every building. They're in pretty much every park now outside. You see them everywhere. Movie theaters, malls, airports, everywhere. So the way they work is they're a little machine. They let firemen use them, so anybody can use them. So the first thing you do is you turn it on. Some of them are different, whereas they have a button to turn on, or this one, you turn it, you open it, and it turns it on. However they work, they all gonna work the same at the end of the day. So you open it up, it's going to prompt you to attach the pads. The pads come in a little pack like this. You rip it open. These are child pads, so these are not for little adults, but they're child pads. They look something like this. One side will be sticky and the other side will be like a foam material. We take the pads and there'll be a picture on each pad of where it belongs. So one will go on the top right-hand shoulder and the other will go just underneath the armpit on the left side. Okay. After you do that, you connect the pads to the AED and the machine will now say that it's analyzing. This means it's looking for two different rhythms that the machine can shock. If it says no shock advised, that doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong. It just means that the machine is not going to shock a rhythm that it doesn't need to shock. If it does say shock advised, the first thing we do is I'm clear, you're clear, meaning no one is touching this patient at all. And then lots of buttons, lots of noises. There's a red button on each machine that is going to prompt you to push. Once you push it, it sends an electrical shock to that heart, and then you continue right into CPR after that. You don't stop doing this. Every 2 minutes, we check, back to CPR, check, back to CPR. You don't stop until we get here. So 4 hours of training, 2.5 minutes. On that same token, if you would like to learn more about this, the City of Mason Fire Department offers classes. You can sign up through the community center, or if you have a special group of people, you can call the fire department and we'd be glad to get you signed up. It's an AHA certified card for 2 years. We teach adult, child, infant, CPR, AED usage, and we teach choking as well. So feel free to give us a call and we'd be glad to get you trained. Thanks. Yeah, staying alive, staying alive. There you go.
Questions for Lieutenant Wyatt or any?
Yes, sir. So the question was, you're in AFib all the time. So this machine is looking, so AFib is on the top part of the heart. That is looking for rhythms that are on the bottom portion of the heart. So even though you're in AFib, there are two different rhythms past your AFib that are deadly rhythms, and that's what that machine looks for. Any other questions?
Lieutenant Wyatt? I'd invite any of the members of the community to visit the website, www.imaginemason.com. We're going to be featuring information about our innovation companies and information about how you can learn more from the fire department, the community center with classes, and look for some exciting opportunities that Piyush and Sam talked about. We also have a close partner, TriHealth, that will be sharing science conversations that we'll be hosting. So please stay tuned for a pretty exciting month, and we're looking forward to sharing more about innovation and attracting more companies that are innovating because of the location of the ones that we have here and our partnership with the American Heart Association, and learning a little bit and becoming healthier. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you to our guests, Alyssa and Sam and Piyush and Brad and Lieutenant Dave Wyatt. Thank you so much for that great demonstration, and all our other staff that are here with our with this mission for wellness and heart health. Could you guys come up and take a picture with council? We'd love to commemorate this, and with our other special guests here. Does he have a name? Our first aid trainee. What is it? Annie. We're going to call her Annie. All right. Well, we'll be right with you. Do you have anything else in your report? Do you have anything else in the city manager? Okay, we're moving on to item 8 on our agenda, which is recognition of visitors. And whoops, we're having some technical difficulties over there. Everybody okay? We have a very short agenda tonight, which includes a public hearing. So I would ask if visitors have comments that are not related to the agenda items, if you could hold off on those until we get to the second round of recognition of visitors. And I just wanted to ask council, do you want to set any time limits before we get started, or any other guardrails there?
Mayor, I think last time we did 3 minutes. I think we agreed to. We're not sure how many people are here wanting to speak and how many are on the queue. So
Okay.
I would suggest 3 minutes.
3 minutes, is there, so that, can you make that motion? Just make that motion.
I'm sorry. Yes, can I make a motion of 3 minutes? Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a second for that?
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, we don't need to do a voice vote or a roll call any? Okay, all right, we'll get moving. Okay, so I see a hand up in the audience. Would you like to come on up and state your name and address at the podium, please, sir? Do we have anybody in the online queue?
Mayor, I have one individual that wishes to address council at this time. I'd also like to remind everybody that is online, if you wish to address council, don't forget to hit the hands raised icon.
All right, great. Hi there.
Can everybody hear me all right?
Is there somebody, can you raise that up?
It's off because of COVID.
That's okay. I think it would help if we raise that microphone up for you because you are tall. Thank you, Kurt.
Okay, is that better?
Very better. Thank you very much.
Okay, I can't stay, or I'd stick around for the second one. But I want to address something that happened at the last council meeting. Okay, a little history.
Sir, we need you to state your name and address.
Inskeep, Mason, Ohio. I'm not giving any other information because where I work, that's called PII, personally identifiable information. And you cannot require me to say any to speak here. Now, I live on Butler Warren. There's a traffic light on Butler Warren and Tylersville. I was the one who pushed to get it there because before that, the only thing that was there was a stop sign on each side of Butler Warren. And we had accidents there almost on a regular basis, okay? And council did not see the need for it. Now you're talking, it was ordinance 2114 about putting a roundabout. This roundabout is not going to address the two major problems that exist on that road. One is volume and the other is excess speed. Now, council members don't live there. You don't see it. I do. I live there. I see it every day. There's people, they use the Butler Warren Road as a racetrack. And putting a roundabout there so that they don't have any stops on Butler Warren is only going to make both of those situations worse than what they currently are. Okay? Now, 2 traffic lights could be put up there for basically about $200,000. That's a lot cheaper than the $1.7 million you're planning on spending. And those would address those 2 major problems. The other problem that came up is, and I'm sure Kurt could probably address this, there's no money set aside for buying all the homes on Butler Warren. Now, when you did the Mason Montgomery Road, okay, you bought all the homes. Now, I don't say things I can't document. You had a council member that bought one of the properties out here. They transferred it to one of their children, and then the city felt obligated to buy all those homes. Okay. You also had, and I'm talking about things council has done over the years. Our neighborhood, we had a council member that wanted to put a business there. Council passed it to rezone it to allow them to put the business there. The residents circulated a petition, a referendum petition, got the required amount of signatures in the required time, and council refused to turn it over to the Board of Elections. So the people never got a say in what's going on in the neighborhood.
Mr. Inskeep, I apologize, but we have come to the end of the allotted time by council.
Now, I'll just say one last thing here, okay? The last two council meetings, you have talked about your First Amendment rights, okay? Council has never recognized or realized people come up here and come to this chamber and speak. They have their First Amendment rights too. Now, if you want to go to your insurrection rallies or whatever you do, that's your choice. But people here should have a choice in what's going on in their neighborhoods, and this council has never done it. We have property over there. All those houses back there were rezoned so they're non-conforming use. We had a house burned down a few years ago. They could not rebuild. They had to put another house there. I don't know how they got the variance, but the house was listed for $310,000. It's over $100,000.
Mr. Inskeep, I'm really sorry. Could you have a...
You do whatever you want. This is the most corrupt city in the country. With all the stuff that you people do, you make me sick.
Mr. Inskeep, just real quick, I just want to make sure we're talking about the right intersection, that we're hearing what your concern was. Was that the intersection of Butler Warren and Western Row, or did, oh, we're losing him. I'm sorry, Mr. Inskeep. We'll follow up with him. Okay, thanks.
Can I
Yes.
just add, just to remind anybody else that wants to talk, the 3 minutes is to make it so everybody gets a chance to talk. It's keep it fair. If you're cut off short and you'd like a chance to finish your thoughts, you wait till everybody circles around. You can probably come to the microphone again to finish your thoughts. It's just because if we have so many people, the whole thought was that way, not just a few people get to speak, but that everybody would get to. That was the reason
Right.
why I thought 3 minutes was fair.
Yeah,
So if
okay.
he wanted to wait around, he could get a chance to finish his thoughts.
For clarification, you mean two people could just get up and share 3 minutes of speech and just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth? Is that what you're saying?
No, I thought everybody in the room would get a chance to speak once for 3 minutes.
But if
and
they
when
want to
they're
get
done,
back up,
somebody could come back up and get a second round.
Okay, I think Mr. Inskeep was talking about the proposed, well, the roundabout that's in motion. It's not actually built yet, but we've started the process of that at Western Row and Butler Warren Road. I just didn't want anyone to think that he meant there was a roundabout going in at Butler Warren and Tylersville Road. That would be a big roundabout. But we're not doing that, so don't worry, and we'll try to follow up with Mr. Inskeep, and hopefully we can come to an understanding on that. We have an online caller, right?
We have a Ms. Milrod. Ms. Milrod, you
Okay.
go ahead and address council. You have 3 minutes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. What happened to the picture? I don't see, I see a Jeff Forbes and I see Mr. Inskeep in static. What happened to the picture on the webinar?
I don't know. Right now, we are viewing council chambers and Mr. Jeff Forbes.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll start my statement. I'm Sonia Milrod. I live at 4270 Fontenay in Mason, Ohio. On October 28th, 2019, I attended a Mason City Council meeting for the first time. I came because I was concerned about signs that had sprouted around town, which said, quote, "Vote Republican," with the names Grossman, Bradburn, and Stricula. I hadn't made up my mind yet about who to vote for and was doing research, but the sign surprised me because I thought that city council was a nonpartisan office. At the meeting, I was shocked to learn that a city council member, TJ Honorlaw, was the one who actually paid for these signs. As community members expressed their dismay that Honorlaw was turning a nonpartisan race partisan, Mr. Honorlaw justified his actions by saying something that has stuck with me to this day because it was so alarming. Mr. Honorlaw said at this October 28th meeting that it was okay for him to put up the signs because, quote, I only represent those people who voted for me, end quote. What? Since when does any elected official only represent those who vote for him or her? Then I learned that this elected representative, TJ Honorlaw, also owes thousands of dollars in back taxes. So when a recall petition came around, I signed it and got others to sign. I want my elected representatives to represent the entire community, not just his special interests. Most recently, I learned that TJ Honorlaw was among those who don't believe in fair elections. He went to Washington, D.C., specifically to overthrow a fairly conducted election. And before going, he identified himself as a Mason City Council member to the press. Unfortunately, our recall petition failed. But at this point, it is clear that TJ Honorlaw should resign from City Council. Mr. Honorlaw already has proclaimed he doesn't represent all the citizens of Mason. And by not paying taxes and by protesting a fair election, he has demonstrated that he doesn't honor the law. Mr. Honorlaw has betrayed the public trust too many times. Thank you.
Mayor, I'd like to respond to some of that if I could quickly.
Yes.
So I didn't bring all my notes with me. I could only guess that Sonia Milrod is part of the Organized Progressive Standing United, but walked to try to remove me during the recall event. She was referring to the October 28th meeting a year and a half ago, I believe, where I, being the vice chair of the Republican Party of the Central Committee, I make sure everybody knows where I stand. I am a conservative. I'm a Christian. Those are my values. And I am also involved with the Republican Party. So it shouldn't be a surprise that I am then supporting the Republican candidates that would be involved in a race. And I think Ms. Milrod is confused about what nonpartisan means. It does not mean that any candidate is now not connected to the party that they are from. So it just means that there's no R or D next to their name when they go to vote, when people go to vote. So of course, anybody that's a Republican would have had donations from Republicans to support them. They still would have had Republicans vote for them. Same with the Democrat. It works both ways. Whether you have the RD next to your name when the people go to vote was the only thing that makes it nonpartisan. And I'm doing a lousy job of clarifying that. I will come prepared next week to be able to really break that down for somebody. It's disappointing for her to be bringing up something that was a year and a half ago about me, but that's fine. Like I said, the difference is I'm transparent about who I am. I'm transparent that I'm a Republican and a conservative, and the people that continuously speak out against me that come to the meetings or come through Zoom, they don't announce who they're part of and the organizations they represent. There's a very small group of radical leftists that are trying to remove me, and that's who these people are. And that's perfectly fine. The difference is I agree they have that right to speak out and are allowed to speak at these meetings and say they don't believe like I do on how to solve issues from a city's perspective, or that I have a right to go to Washington, D.C. as a private citizen. I denounced, once again, this will be the third meeting, so 6 weeks now, I denounced any violence or anything that took place there. I saw nothing. My experience was totally peaceful and a pleasant experience being at Washington DC to support the president. And I did go there because I disagreed. My point of view is that we should everybody, whether Republican or Democrat, should be all for election integrity because we all want our votes to count. And that's why I went there to support that rally. And I would think anybody that even is here in Mason or voting for Mason City Council members would want their vote to count correctly too. So that's what that was about. I'm trying to think what else she brought up. Hopefully that's it. Have I answered that correctly? Maybe I missed something, but I'm sure there'll be more. I'll try to hit it again later. Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. If we could, thank you. If we could refrain from applauding in the audience. I did ask that for this first round of recognition of visitors, it could be related to agenda items or city business. That Ms. Milrod was not city business, and we've been running into trouble. One reason we're doing time limits is because we're really having a difficult time getting through our business meetings because so many visitors have been coming as of late, and oftentimes to talk about national politics or things that are just not related to city business. So if there's anyone else in the queue or in the audience that has a city business related item, preferably to the agenda, if you could let us know.
Mayor, can I just
Yes.
follow up my comment with one more? The only thing I
Yes.
said that I'd better clarify again is she's saying that I said that I only represent people that voted for me. I'd never said that. That was totally taken out of context. What I'd hoped to do before this meeting, I guess, is go back and transcribe that whole meeting so I can actually show people exactly what was said. But of course, I represent everybody in Mason, not just people that voted for me. I'm a representative of everybody in Mason. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, all right, let's move on to item number 9 on the agenda. That's ordinance 2021-5. We have a public hearing and a second reading. I need a motion to read by title only, please.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Jeff?
Thank you. Amending various sections of the codified ordinances of the City of Mason, Ohio regarding notice requirements.
Eric?
Thank you, Mayor. I know some residents and maybe council, this may sound like old news, but this is the final stage of what was begun last year as a charter amendment known as Issue 2 that Mason residents approved at the ballot in November of 2020. The basic purpose of that charter amendment was to take some outdated language from the city's charter, which was printed when newspapers were the common form of communication, and there was not, telephone service was spotty. There certainly wasn't internet or web service. What the charter amendment allowed is those sections of the charter to include the City of Mason's website as an alternate to newspaper publishing for the public notification requirements that the city undergoes. With adoption of that by the charter, that only allowed us to consider it. We need to change several elements of our codified, including zoning code, maybe most significantly zoning code elements, which went through Planning Commission. Planning Commission approved those. There are a couple of other items within our codified that need updated to reflect this new ability to publish public notices via the city's website. So those amendments are before you. That allows us to use the city website as an additional or alternate to simply newspaper publishing. I think there's a couple of advantages to that, which includes costs as well as timeliness. Via the website instead of a hard copy single issue newspaper, our intention is to post a public notification and have it present continuously and accessible continuously until either the meeting or the bid or whatever the action is that is notifying residents of. What I thought before we begin the public hearing, maybe we'll change that. Lisa must, oh, I'm sorry. I missed it. Lisa's up here this time. Lisa could show us the website and the capabilities there for public notice. While she's getting up there, after the public hearing, we'll have opportunity to adopt ordinance 2021-5, which allows us to finally implement the changes the voters approved.
So on the website here, if you scroll down, there is a link here for public notices. If you click on that, it will be the most recent posted public notice. These can range from bids to letters of interest, public hearings. For example, tonight's public hearing is on here that was posted in the Pulse Journal on January 24th. It'll also be listed on the side here. So if you are looking at agendas and minutes for tonight's agenda and you want to look at the public notice information, it's also right here, easily accessible on the left. It's also listed under the city government at the bottom. If you click on public notices, so they'll all be right here. If you're interested in not having to go to the website each time, you can sign up for the newsletter here at the bottom and you will be emailed the public notice information. And it's a quick and easy sign up that is also with our Tuesday e-newsletters and our Thursday community center e-newsletters.
Thank you for showing us that. So you're communicating 3 different ways in the same webpage. It's very nice. All right, so we need to set the public hearing time. We're opening up at 7:53. Is there anybody that would like to speak in favor of this or against this? Anybody online? Okay, we'll give it a minute here. All right, let's go ahead and close it at 7:54. Council, I need a motion to adopt, please.
So moved. Second.
Is there any council discussion? Okay, seeing none, let's call the roll, please.
Councilmember Bradburn,
Yes.
Councilmember Stricula,
Yes.
Councilmember Hunterlaw,
Yes.
Mayor Grossman,
Yes.
Councilmember Chance.
Yes.
Item 11 on the agenda is ordinance 2021-24. We have a first reading. We need a motion to read by title only, please.
Moved.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Jeff Forbes?
Approval of a conditional use permit to allow a kennel on a B3 zoned property located east of 2720 Water Park Drive, Pet Suites.
Eric?
Yes, we'd like to set a public hearing for March 8th.
All right, March 8th, and we'll be able to find that notice. At what point does the notice go out on the website for the March 8th hearing? Tomorrow morning. Okay, all right, right away. All right, we're going to test you guys. Thank you. All right, so we will talk about this again on March 8th. Item 12 on the agenda, ordinance 2021-25, first reading. We need a motion to read by title only, please. All in favor? Any opposed? Jeff?
Amending the zoning code and zoning map of the city of Mason, Ohio to provide for the rezoning of approximately 0.4 acres from B2 Shopping Center District to B3 Road Service Commercial located at 5614 Tylersville Road, UDF.
Eric?
Similarly, we'd like the public hearing on March 8th.
March 8th. Thank you. Item 13, ordinance 2021-26. We need a motion to read by title only, please.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? Jeff?
Authorizing the city manager to enter into contracts with the Davy Tree Expert Company for as-needed tree removal services.
Jennifer?
Yes, Mayor, members of council, if you don't mind, I'm going to cover the next 2 ordinances together because it's actually one program. Several years ago, we developed a hazardous tree removal program that was largely the result of a significant number of ash trees that were in our street right-of-ways, public parks, as well as the golf center. What we did was basically go out, evaluate all the trees, and then rank them priority based on safety as well as aesthetics. Then annually, we typically enter into several contracts or at least 2 contracts so we can get competitive pricing. And when there is a tree, a single tree or a series of trees that need to be removed, we ask those vendors to come out. They evaluate it, give us a quote, and then we pick the lowest price that's available. That way we ensure we get the most competitive price. Last year we spent, in 2019, we spent $225,000 on hazardous trees. Last year we did very minimal as a result of COVID. This year, our budget includes $125,000 for this program. Ordinance 2021, 26, and 27 allows us to enter into contracts with 2 vendors for these tree removals. While the legislation includes that amount for each vendor, the city does not anticipate exceeding a total of $125,000 for this year's tree removal program. With that, ordinance 2021-26 and 27 are recommended for adoption. Thank you.
Thank you. We need a motion to suspend the rule and allow for adoption after the first reading.
Second?
All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? We need a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Any council discussion? Let's call the roll.
Councilmember Stricula,
Yes.
Councilmember Hunterlaw,
Yes.
Mayor Grossman,
Yes.
Councilmember Chance,
Yes.
Councilmember Bradburn.
Yes.
Ordinance 2021-27, that's item 14 on your agenda. We need a motion to read by title only.
So moved.
All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? Jeff?
Authorizing the city manager to enter into contracts with Brightview Landscape Services for as-needed tree removal services.
We need a motion to suspend the rule to allow for adoption after the first reading.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor? Any opposed? We need a motion to adopt.
Second.
Any council discussion on that one? Let's call the roll, please.
Councilmember Hunterlaw,
Yes.
Mayor Grossman,
Yes.
Councilmember Chance,
Yes.
Councilmember Bradburn,
Yes.
Councilmember Stricula.
Yes.
Item 15 is ordinance 2021-28. We need a motion to read by title only, please. All in favor? Any opposed? Jeff?
Authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Warren County Engineers Office for the purchase of rock salt.
Jennifer?
Yes, Mayor, members of council. We probably need it right now if it's not snowing outside. It's supposed to be. But this is not actually the purchase of rock salt. Actually, the city does participate in 2 cooperative purchasing agreements to purchase rock salt, and we annually do that in June or July. What this does, though, however, it aligns us to participate in the Warren County's cooperative purchasing program with other jurisdictions in our county. It is required by the Warren County Engineers Office. The city encounters roughly an average of 15 to 16 snow events a year. We use about 5,000 to 6,000 tons of salt. This year, we're already at 13 events, and this week will probably get us up to 17 to 20 by the end of the week. So again, it's a purchasing program run through Warren County's auditor's office. This is just allows us our participation in that. With that, ordinance 2021-28 is recommended for adoption.
Thank you. We need a motion to suspend the rule and allow for adoption after the first reading.
So moved.
All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? We need a motion to adopt.
So moved.
All right, in a second.
Second.
Thank you. Any council discussion on that one? Council member?
Just wanted to comment on what an effective job the city does, that the city manager does when they have to run their, I would say, second shifts. But I was amazed to find out that it's not just the public works out on the crews, but this city manager has trained every single person on the staff, I believe, including, I'd like to try to think who. I know Kurt's been out, will be in a truck. Probably even Jennifer will be out. No, not Jennifer, but I mean, it's amazing. She'll be shoveling. But it's amazing the amount of people that when they say all hands on deck, they pull everybody out. And everybody that lives in the city of Mason knows our streets are by far the best than anywhere else. You go into Mason and the streets are clean. You head out of Mason and all of a sudden you're like, oh, it's snowing somewhere, you know? But it's like, they really do not play around. And I think they do an excellent job, and kudos to the staff.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, let's call the roll, please.
Mayor Grossman,
Yes.
Councilmember Chance,
Yes.
Councilmember Bradburn,
Yes.
Councilmember Stricula,
Yes.
Councilmember Hunterlaw.
Yes.
All right, our next item is number 16. We have old and new business. Who has anything to share during old and new business?
I
Yes.
Mayor, if I can just, I'm trying to remember exactly how I want to say this. I know we talked at the last meeting about adopting some rules for council and for our audience that was tabled. So I'm just hoping that we're going to have some progress on that.
Yeah, we have not taken it off the table, so we won't discuss it at length tonight, but we are working on scheduling a committee meeting of the Policy and Legislation Committee. And that will lead me to my old and new business, but we'll discuss it in that committee. Did you have anything else? Okay, anybody else? All right, so instead of the work session that we tentatively planned for February 16th, we're going to replace that with committee meetings. And I know we need a wellness, we need an economic development committee meeting, and we thought we would tackle the council rules and council meeting efficiency during and policy and legislative committee. And we have a couple of other topics to discuss in those committee meetings, including a request to explore PACE funding. I think Councilmember Chance made that request. So we're going to work on that, and we'll send out public announcements with more of the topical information on that later. And if we need a work session, we may go ahead and try to do one before the next meeting. It's tough to do work session, executive session, and a business meeting all in the same night. So when I do call for a work session, I'd appreciate it if council members can do their best to attend. We want you there so we can hear what's on your mind. And, we really do bend over backwards to try to accommodate everybody when we try to schedule those. All right. Let's see. I do have some appointments, but before I do that, I'd just like to take a moment to point out in your Centerpoint magazine, there's a great report about small business recovery, and it features some great guys who served on our Community Investment Corporation. A former mayor, Dick Staton, who's also been a longtime chair of our Planning Commission. And of course, Vice Mayor Gilb can be seen there. And we also have David Smith and Tom McCormick, who also serve on our Community Investment Corporation. And there are a lot of highlights about what we've been able to do to help bolster our small business community, and a lot of other great articles in this magazine as well. So those should have dropped in your households by now. I got mine, so probably everybody in Mason who gets this should have it. Another item of old and new business I need to make some appointments. So I would request a confirming vote for new appointments of the following. For Planning Commission, that would be Dick Staton, Dean McCurley, and Don Prince. For Park Board, that would be Greg Coca, Adam Ayers, Mike Muma, and Rick Roderer. And to the Board of Veterans Affairs, Roger Heron and John Looker. All in favor? Yes. Okay, great. Does anybody else have any other items of old and new business? All right, let's move on to item 17, which is recognition of visitors. Is there anyone on the online queue who wishes to speak? No hands raised there. Okay, anybody in the audience who would like to share tonight? Come on up, sir. When you reach the podium, just state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. So I'm Mark Burrell. I live at 6370 Caddy's Way, Mason, Ohio. First, thanks again to all of you for all that you do to serve on Mason City Council. We very much appreciate it. I just want to speak on behalf of TJ, Councilman Honolaw. We had someone speak again tonight, listing a number of issues, concerns with Councilman Honolaw. And this has been going on for quite a long period of time. And there are a number of us that are here to express our support. He's an honorable man. You're not going to agree with every position he takes, but he's very open and transparent. And we very much appreciate that. It's sorely needed in the political environment that we're in. So Councilman Honolaw, I really appreciate your service, and just want to again speak on behalf of his character and his desire to do a good job for Mason. So again, thank you to all of you though for all the work you do.
My name's Terry Pining. I live at 5056 Village Green Drive. Unfortunately, some of the people that are always here spewing hate towards TJ aren't here tonight. I'm assuming that the woman online is probably not there anymore. But anyway, I just want to start by saying I sit here at these meetings twice a month, and I listen to the Democrats call for TJ's resignation, all while their party calls for unity. I'm not sure what unity really means to them, but for the rest of us, unity, according to the dictionary, is a state of being, one or united as a whole, the state of being in accord and harmony. The Democrats that are spewing hate at these meetings need to stop and understand things are not always as they appear. When I walked into the meeting on January 25th, 2021, I saw a woman with a flag sweatshirt on, and I thought, well, there's a patriot. How wrong I was. It was quite evident she was not a patriot the minute she began to speak. Just like at the Capitol, you can dress like a patriot, but your words and your actions truly tell if you really are a patriot. Congratulations to her, though, on her stage performance. Her sweatshirt was quite impressive. She did fool me for a little while, like I said. Things are not always as they appear. There's a saying, I don't trust words, I even question actions, but I never doubt patterns. There's a pattern of behavior that happens here at these meetings twice a month, a pattern of hate and accusations. If you're going to dress like a patriot, you need to act like one. I'd also like to address why Council Member Nelson, who isn't here tonight, I see, and Council Member Chance come out at break and talk and laugh with these type of people. That offends me. Aren't you a Mason City Council member, as a Mason City Council member, supposed to be working as a team for the betterment of Mason? Aren't you supposed to be bipartisan, not pick and choose a side? I am a member of the Mason community also. You don't come out and talk and laugh with me. If you can't work together for the betterment of this community and condemn the outrageous behavior these men and women bring to these meetings twice a month, I think you should step down, and in fact, I demand your resignation. When are you going to say enough is enough and get on with what you were elected to do for the city of Mason? There's a quote, this is a quote from the woman who had the flag sweatshirt on last week. She said, if we want to continue to grow as a city and attract people to our city economically and families, we cannot represent this kind of hate. That's the end of her quote. Do these Democrats ever stop and look at the hate they spew twice a month? I personally am done with all of it, but we'll continue to fight this nonsense for as long as needed. Thank you. And TJ, you have a large conservative following, and we are here in support of what you do. And thank you, sir, for your service.
Here. I'd like to address that. Yeah, Terry, thank you for getting up and speaking to your opinion. And first of all, I don't know what you're referencing when you say I stood up and laughed with these people. I have no idea what you mean by that. Well, I'm allowed to talk to whoever I want to, and I take my job very seriously. And I'd like to let everyone in the audience know, like, this is kind of the epitome of what's wrong with this country. You stand up and you tell people and you disavow them and tell them and point the finger at them and say, you're asking for resignation from this man, and then you just stood up there and did the exact same. So here's
Ms. Pining, if you could approach, hold on one second. We need you at the podium.
Well, I don't need to go back and forth. I'm just going to make my statement here. My father is a retired colonel in the Air Force. I love this country. I love this country more than anything, you guys know. But one thing I do not like is identity politics. Really? And everything we stand up here and hear every single night from both sides, it's absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Right. I agree with you.
It is absolutely ridiculous. And I'm sorry that it does have to happen up here. And we're sitting here and we're addressing this thing again, as Mr. Hunterlaw said, for 6 weeks again. For 6 weeks. Mm-hmm. When we're talking about unity and you're throwing things in the face of unity, then we stand up here and we're addressing the exact same thing again and again and again. Yep. And it's like, we've all kind of, I think every one of us independently admitted that Mr. Honeywell had every right to go to DC, 100%. Now, the judgment of waving the flag of Mason City Council person, everybody can use their own opinion there. I'm not going to have my opinion. He had every right to go there if he wanted to.
This is the first time, Mr. Chance, I have ever heard you say that.
I said that last time before I got up and left. You can go back and
didn't hear
I
you
don't know,
say it.
two meetings ago, I mentioned that. But here's my issue. Again, you stand up there and you condemn the person that called, but then you do the exact same actions. Let's try to be better than this. I see the gentleman, I forget your name back there, but and I'll say it again, we use the word nice. And we just sit up there and you're going to throw arrows. Then the next side's going to stand up and throw arrows. You're talking about people that are tired of it. I am simply tired of it as well.
Sir, I've been putting up with it for 4 years.
You just sit there and we were just sitting there talking about bipartisan and then you just mentioned it again. It's literally, again, the epitome of what's wrong with this country.
It absolutely
We
is.
both talk out of both sides of the mouth. This side's going to sit here and scream, which I believe, policies are just, it's disingenuous. This side's going to stand up here and scream, and they're so counterproductive because these two people that are yelling and screaming, I bet 3 or 4% of the country actually relate to them. And therein lies the problem. And I apologize if you're offended if I went out and spoke to someone and I accidentally laughed. I apologize. But I'm not going to sit here and I take this job seriously. So first of all, I'll answer your question. I'm not going to step down because of one for laughing. That seems a little ridiculous, but I'm not going to step down. And again, I apologize if you're offended by laughing, just like the lady that was offended by prayer. Whoever's offended by prayer I can't imagine that. And for someone to be offended by laughing, I apologize, but I'm not going to step down. Again, I would love to move on from this topic somehow or some way.
I would love it too. And it would be great to come to this council meeting and not hear this discussed ever again. It would be awesome. And I wish you would speak up and defend your fellow council member. I don't hear you do that. I see these people come here and badger him day after day after day. It's been going on for 1.5 years. We have a person that comes on the internet here and talks about something that he did 1.5 years ago. I mean, you talk about digging up old graves. I mean, like I said, you obviously must know these people because you feel very comfortable around them, which is fine. I don't care. But you don't come and visit. We've come since the beginning of the year. You don't come and visit with us. And you know what, Ashley? I don't care.
You're here. You've been here the last 3 or 4 meetings to it, right? I walked back there to talk to you guys the last meeting and literally got the cold shoulder. So
I did not see you
I tried to come back and talk. And if you want to, hey, I'd love to meet for coffee.
I'd love to meet for coffee.
I would love
to
too. Somebody just get my email. I'll give you my phone number. Love to sit down and have coffee.
That'd be great.
I'd rather have a one-on-one discourse or dialogue opposed to sit here and literally paint with wide brushes. You're wrong. She's wrong. He's wrong. He's right. It's ridiculous. And we sit up there and we make a mockery out of this board. That's what.
And you know, my point right here has been proven. This was a joke. Because this is what goes on in these meetings that I have witnessed. These people come and they call for his resignation. So that's why I called for yours, because it's a joke. The whole thing
is the problem.
Ridiculous.
I mean, matching a joke with a joke and then wasting our time with it.
Right.
Come on.
I've wasted my time for how many weeks coming here and listening to this. This all needs to end. And you all need to get on with what you were elected to do. And that is to do the best that you can do for the city of Mason and put this stuff to bed. Okay, then let's put it to bed. And I wouldn't let anyone else come up here and talk about it. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
No worries. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Pining. Member Hunterland.
To be able to clarify was the painting with the broad brush from the council member that said that I waved the flag of city council. I don't know how I did that other than when I was called to do interviews. They asked what position, and I told them that I ran 2 small businesses, and they said, well, aren't you on city council? I said, yes, I'm on city council. I'm also the vice chair of the Republican Party. So then I can't control what they print or how they put that, but every one of them then put headlines, city council member says. I can't control how they print that. I did not go out and advertise that or promote it. I was there as a private citizen and they all knew that because I told them that. So why you think that was bad judgment on my part, I'm not quite sure, but I'm glad to hear that you support my right to go. Thank you.
100%. And I've said that again, if you go back and look at the last meeting, I did make that very clear.
Yes, you did. I remember that. Member Chance had to excuse himself, and he did mention that he was okay with Member Hunter Law visiting Washington. In the spirit of the previous dialogue with Mrs. Pining and some of the things that you said, Mr. Chance, I think right now is a very good opportunity for you to denounce your participation in the recall efforts and apologize for that. And I think that would go a long way to help with the partisanship, because I'm suspicious.
And the funny thing,
one moment. I'm suspicious that the continuous visits from people that were part of the recall team, so they're not here tonight, but we've been visited regularly, including the last 2 meetings where we had lengthy statements written by them and read. I'm suspicious that they're gearing up for the next election in November, or perhaps another try to recall. And they have warned me that they were going to try to recall me. So I think this is a great opportunity for you to go ahead and denounce the recall. It was
I'm not going to
fraudulent.
denounce anything because that's the funny thing. How about you denouncing the fact that you put in the first paragraph that it was ran by myself, Councilman Strickland, and Mrs. Nelson?
It was,
you want to
were
denounce
highly
that?
involved.
I was not highly involved.
You signed the petition.
I did sign the petition.
Your wife
and I
circulated
100%
petition.
agreed with it. My wife circulated the petition. You want to know why?
Wait,
Because
one
she
second.
watches exactly what goes on up here.
So she was demanding, she was demanding, in a sense, supporting the undoing of a duly run fair election a year early because people were not happy with the way things were going, I guess. So the irony here is not lost on me. And I think it would still be a great opportunity. You haven't announced that you were the inventor of the People Over Politics movement.
You better believe it. I still believe
the webpage.
The best thing this community needs.
Those are the people
over
that come in
politics,
here.
'cause look what happens.
So do you take responsibility to the statements that are put on the social media site?
I have no idea no, I do not.
You said that's your group and you founded it.
What?
You said that's your
I didn't
group and-
found the Facebook side of it.
But you guys seem to all be working together.
United to
Mayor,
support.
this is a recognition of visitors time. This
It is recognition of
not a
visitors.
discussion time.
Jeez.
Yes, you're right.
This is again.
You're right, but as the chair, I'm allowing this. Thank you. It's not the epitome, but it would be a great opportunity.
Exactly what I mean by people over politics.
Okay.
What you guys are watching is absolutely a political sham. And that's the problem with what's going on. You're good at it. You're good at it. And keep up the good work.
Well, you know that's not appropriate.
I'm a father. I have 3 young kids and I run 3 different businesses. I don't have time to structure time to figure out and maneuver which political questions I'm going to have, nor do I get text during the meetings from maybe a county commissioner telling us on which way to go. Are you okay? Are you telling me that never happened? Okay, well, we're going to find that out. So again, this is the epitome again of what is wrong, but we continue to do this dance. You guys, if you want to, that's completely up to you, but I'm not going to. I can go out and meet with folks. Again, Terry, if you'd like to sit down, let's sit down. And if you guys all want to sit down, let's all sit down. And I'm opening that up.
Okay. If you have any corrections for the mayor's report, I do need to get that second copy out. If you could just send me your corrections in writing. I haven't gotten any corrections from any council members. So I'll be getting that out soon. I need to get that done. All right. Any other visitors? All right. With that,
Make a motion to adjourn.
Whoa, 1 second. You have to wait till you have the floor to make the motion to adjourn. Do you want the floor? Sorry, but sorry, I'm not trying to call you out. It's just that we've had other people that have been interrupting and doing that motion, but it is time. So Member Bradburn, could you make that motion, please?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Is there a second? All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Well,